Ladies, gamers, and gentlemen, welcome to another BelleNOiR Starcraft 2 cast. Today we're going to be watching a game of Starnan versus Hyun. The game is going to be taking place on Whirlwind, and this, as you can tell just by glancing over at the colors of the both players, is not going to be a ladder game. Now, frankly, I do not know which tournament this was taken from, but nevertheless, it should be an interesting match. Spawning in the bottom left position, we have Starnan, still an up-and-comer Protoss player, wearing purple colors, and in the lower right position, we have Quantix Hyun, the blue Zerg player. Now, Hyun, he is very renowned, very well known for his aggressive ZVT style and tactics, and maybe even more famously known for his ZVZ matchup, which is quite good. So on Whirlwind, you usually want to go heavy macro versus your opponent, but in these spawn locations that we have right now, they are close spawns. Basically on Whirlwind, anything else than cross spawn positions, what I just showed you with the camera, is considered a close spawn. Now, in close spawns, there is the option of going a little bit more aggressive here, and it looks like Hyun is going to be exactly just that, taking his gas even before the pool, even before the hatchery. He is looking to get a very quick speed out for his links. On the other hand, Starnan is doing a gateway expand. Now, getting a quick speed versus a gateway expansion is probably the safest way you can go about things, and it will, because it shuts down aggression so reliably. And of course, since the Protoss player is expanding off of a gateway after the cybernetics core, you don't necessarily have to rush to get your expansion up and coming, get your expansion going as a Zerg player, because the Protoss player is delaying their expansion as well. Now we see Hyun getting that 100 gas, exactly 100 gas for that link speed, and queuing that one up. And let us see if he will be looking to take an expansion or not, or if this will be a one-base play. So far, Starnan, he's getting this one Zod. Let us see if he actually lets it finish. Yes, he did end up letting it finish. So he's playing this really safe. Sometimes what you see Protoss players doing is that they would cancel their Zealot if no lings are here. By the time you have 300 minerals, you cancel the Zealot, bring yourself up to 400, and that will allow you to get that Nexus immediately. But we can see Starnan is playing this really safe, getting his links first, and this might be in part due to him knowing the play style of Hyun relatively well. Now, Hyun is going to find out where his opponent is. He sees the one pylon, immediately pulls back. He does have quite a lot of links on the field already, and he is adding 10 more as he's getting his natural expansion up as well. And he might be looking to try and deny this Nexus. Now the question is, will he go for the deny right away, or will he wait for the Nexus to finish? The Nexus still has 20 seconds on the timer before it is done, and it looks like Hyun is just going and try to pick away at the Zod. This will force Starnan to build an additional pylon here, forming a full wall off, so these links definitely have been worth it. And since there are no sentries coming out, it's going to be a Stalker, a Mothership Core and a Stalker versus a whole lot of links. We can see the pylon at the natural base already going down, and probably this natural expansion will be cancelled, or might be cancelled by Starnan. Oh my goodness, a bad rally point there for Starnan, losing another Stalker, and now he will lose that expansion for sure. Photon overcharge initiated now. The Nexus has quite a lot of hit points. Will Hyun decide to sacrifice so many of his economy, so many of his larva, to try and bring this Nexus down, or will he stop here and go back to drones? It looks like he is going back to drones. Now behind this Starnan, he is actually going for a quick DT shrine here. I do not know if he realizes how far behind Hyun actually is compared to normal state of things. I think he does. So he's going with 2 additional gateways and a forge. Dark Shrine still has about 30 seconds on the timer. That should give enough time for the gateways here at the natural to finish in order for Starnan being able to warp in DTs as soon as that Dark Shrine is done. Hyun, in the meantime, he's taking another gas. Still no lair transition, even though he does have the gas for it. Instead, he just decided that building double evolution chambers is the correct course of action to take here. And as these gateways finish up, I'm looking for a potential warping of 3 DTs somewhere out on the map. We don't have any proxy balance though for Starnan, so he will be forced to warp in those DTs directly at this doorstep. And if Hyun was actually paying attention, he might have seen the shimmer coming. Is he going to be... oh my god. He's going to be taking an expansion in the top left. Now meanwhile the DTs are making their way over here. Oh, now I remember where this game is from. I think this was the Go for SC2 finals a couple weeks back, maybe 1, maybe 2 weeks back, that they played. Well, maybe not finals, probably the semifinals. So the DTs do come in and start hacking away at the drones. One DT should get inside the main base as he kills the queen. The other one will remain in the natural base. And Hyun's lair is so far behind. He's struggling to get up his spore crawlers, but these DT might be able to deny that Starnan. Will he go for that spore crawler, or will he go for the 100% sure kill onto the drones? There's a spore in the natural base. DT barely out of range though, and this one DT in the main has gotten himself a pretty good amount of kills. So if we look right now at the worker kill tab, it shows 16. Oh my god, this DT actually doing some more work over here, getting himself up to 14 kills no less, and with no overseer. Oh, the Starnan mismicroing a little bit there, losing that DT. But overall, 21 workers killed, so I'd say that Starnan actually got pretty far ahead of his opponent. Look at this, full saturation, over full saturation at his natural base actually. And he's following this up with double Stargate. Is he going to go Sky Toss as the +1 attack on the ground units has just now finished up? Starnan going immediately into +2, but this base for Quantig's Hyun, this might be just what he needs to get himself ahead in this game, because if this goes on unscouted, that might mess with Starnan's reasoning and strategy and all of his decisions basically throughout this game. He does have the Phoenixes out though, so if he goes all around the map trying to kill Overlords, he might just scout that expansion up. Now with double Stargate production, is Hyun aware of this? Yes, he pretty much got the full scout with the Overlord before those Phoenixes killed it. So what are the advantages right now that Starnan has? He does have a very good Air Force. Disadvantage? His ground army is not that big. And he needs a third base. He's going to be taking it after taking care of these Overlords spewing creep all over the goddamn place. And, you know, as far as scouting, he does not have much. He does have one DT over here taking a good look at this third base. And Starnan probably is quite surprised that that third base has not yet gone down. So he's going to use his Phoenixes for scouting. In the meantime, he's transitioning into Void Ray production. This is going to be quite good for him because Void Rays, obviously in high numbers, are very good. Starnan getting his wall off here at the third base. Hyun doesn't know about the third base so far. He tries to take a base here, but that DT is taking care of business on that side. And just having this Phoenixes out is going to make Hyun a lot more careful with his Overlord placement. In fact, if we look at his map vision, we can see that it is fairly limited. No Overlords out on the map, and only a couple of Lings scouting out the most common approach paths on the ground. while these Phoenixes are still doing damage, but Infestors will start to come out onto the field in 40 seconds or so, as the Pathogen Glands are on the way. 2-2 on the way for his ground army as well. Now, unfortunately for Hyun, he's getting melee and carapace upgrades, so probably won't be getting any Hydras, so he's going to have to rely on good fungal growths of his Infestors to be able to cope with the ever-increasing air army that Starnan is building. If we take a look at the worker count, we can see, unit counts, we can see that 3 Void Rays are already up, and Starnan should be building 2 Void Rays at a time. He's also getting +3 ground attacks, and he still doesn't know about this base here. This base almost fully saturated right now, and Hyun only building drones here. As soon as he saturates the base, he can just go ahead. Oh, he's actually going to take, or try to take, this base as well. There is a DT, though, that's going to deny this. But the Overseer, will it get killed? Oh my goodness, Starnan, such a cute move, saving the DT while killing the Overseer, further delaying Hyun from taking that 4th base. He is fully saturated on 3 bases, almost, and, well, he's getting more and more Void Rays. I just have to... I don't know if I like this robo transition out of Starnan right now, because pretty much if you have high Void Ray numbers, you can deal with Ultralisks as well as Corruptors and Broodlords. Your only contestant is going to be the Hydra Queen, maybe Hydra Queen Infestor combination that the Zerg player might be going for. That might put a damper into your plans, but with Storm and High Templars, Starnan should be pretty okay. He doesn't have Storm Research, nor is it on the way yet, and he is finally starting to scout out other bases, because he must have been scratching his head, not having seen the 3rd base go down for such a long time, neither there nor here. And finally he does find out about this base, but already Spore Crawlers being built to safeguard the drones, because this base is all the way on the other side of the map compared to where the main base of Hyun is. I'm getting a macro hatch right now, and just maybe trying to go for a 3 base all-in off of this, with this base here in the top position. Starnan is going to get a queen here. That is always a nice kill. Good micro by Starnan, not losing a single Phoenix to this. Oh, actually, he will lose one. That is not a good trade, losing one Phoenix for a queen. Wow. Okay, so a Nidus Worm going down. This... there are no Overlords here that could place the Nidus Worm inside the main base of Starnan, but he could use the Nidus Worm to... Oh, yeah! He does have a Nidus network already built here, so he can use this to reinforce the base and protect it versus ground counterattacks. Finally, the DT has been dealt with, and the 4th base can go down. Now, we already have Ultralisks out on the field, and this is where I kind of start being afraid a little bit for Starnan, because he doesn't have that many Void Rays to kill those Ultralisks off very effectively. He tries to go with a Warp Prism, warp in a couple of Zealots here, maybe even DTs, try to knock the space out of business, but there are Spore Crawlers, there are Spine Crawlers there, so these DTs will not do very much, and they are getting killed by those Spines, so Starnan wasting resources there, not being really all that much careful with them. He is getting 2 additional Robo Facilities, and this will bring him to a total of 3. So he will be able to pump out tons of Immortals to combat those Ultralisks. And even though Immortals are really good versus Ultras, I still would have liked for Starnan to just continue his Void Ray production to deal with those. I mean, Void Rays are really good versus Ultras. The only downside of them is that they are really freaking slow. Warp Prism getting taken out as Starnan is trying to send more Zealots over. Is he actually sending that Immortal as well? Looks like he is. And yeah, the Immortal is going to help with the Spine Crawlers and the Ultralisks. Meanwhile, Starnan, he should be looking to take a 4th base. Has to get a cannon here first because there is a Link burrowed. And Starnan, he's almost maxed. But so is Hyun. And with the Ultra here and so many spines, this is not going to work. So Starnan is pulling back, letting that base live for the time being, and he's going to be taking his third expansion, fourth base, rather, very quickly here. If we look over, flick over to the upgrade tab, we see that +3 attack is done for Starnan, and he's not even bothering himself with getting armor upgrades. He's just getting shield upgrades because he's using both ground and air units. So that makes the most sense for him. Hyun, he is already on 3-3 upgrades for his units. He does have the chitinous plating for his Ultralisks, and he does a burrow. We have a huge engagement in the center. A lot of feedbacks going down onto the Queens, preventing the transfuses from being used onto the Ultras, and Starnan is pushing forward, but he has to be careful not to get fungled. We have only one Infestor, though, remaining on the field, and Starnan is pushing in. The Storm is going to be very helpful here. I don't know if Starnan is just not overstepping his mark just a little bit. All the Ultralisks get stormed, but look at the ground army just evaporating so quickly. Starnan mismicroing a little bit, storming his own Void Rays. More Lings and Ultralisks are closing in onto Starnan. Starnan trying to land as many storms as possible, but all the ground army is dead. All that is remaining are 4 Void Rays, and imagine Starnan just having 2-3 times the Void Rays numbers. That fight might have gone entirely differently. I mean, Starnan so far still hanging on. He does have the 4th base on the way. He is stopping the round by here. Can he keep this 4th base alive? If he loses this 4th base, he will fall behind so rapidly, just because Hyun having 4 bases and having that income for so much longer compared to Starnan. Starnan mined out at his main base. Let's see how his natural is looking like. Yeah, it's heavily mined. Only a couple of resources remaining onto that, and even the Void Rays are getting taken care of, kind of, with the Infestor and the Queen, trying to lure them into the range of the Spore Crawlers. So far the 3rd base is staying up, but more Infestors are showing up to fungal down those Voids. 1 more fungal on the Void Rays, 2 more should do it. Another one landing, and Hyun taking a 5th base on the other side of the map. Hyun just playing this so clever. We see now the adrenal glands going down. That will make the Zerglings very effective versus any kind of ground unit Starnan will be able to make. And he, speaking of which, he won't be able to make all that many of them, because look at the income. It's barely at 1,000 minerals, only mining 600 gas a minute, and his bank is not that huge. If we look over at the army supply, it's 62 versus 107, but half of that army supply is in the air, and those Phoenixes will not be as useful to Starnan. Well, maybe he can lift a couple of Infestors and kill those, prevent the fungals from going down, maybe, but the ground army, I don't know if this will be enough to combat how many? 9 Ultras with Queens, transfuses available. One thing that actually Quantic Hyun should do well to remember to bring with him to the battle is an Overseer, or otherwise he might lose a lot of these units to DTs. Remember, Starnan still has the DT Shrine. It looks like Hyun might be looking to go for it. He's almost maxed right now, adding on more spines to defend this base. Of course, Warpin might come from the back, but with this Nidus network still in place, Hyun will be able to transfer units over there really quickly. And look at this, even... Is he going for drops? No, he can't be going for drops. He doesn't have the upgrade research, but he is making a transition into a Spire here. And it's barely visible, but we do have a Spire coming up. So even if he does lose the ground battle that is about to happen right here, he might just win with a transition, a very nasty Mutalist transition. Oh, Starnan losing all of these Phoenixes, not good times for the Protoss player. And Hyun almost max. He's going to be looking to trade these Ultralisks for something, maybe a base, maybe an army, probably an army. Starnan positioning himself defensively here to try and accept the coming blow. Hyun even taking a 6th base over here. I don't know if Starnan can hold on. He has to have the Archons in the perfect position in front of the Immortals. He has to have those units in a line. Zealots in front of the Archons, actually. Oh, and Starnan. Oh, Starnan. Oh, Starnan. This is the worst possible engagement he could have taken. The Ultras are getting taken out, though, because there's so many Immortals. We have 9, 10, 11 Immortals here on the field. They are getting fungled, but look at this. Hyun is all out of fungals, and there are still the same amount of Immortals remaining. Ultralisks at this point, nor Roaches are not going to cut it. Starnan knows he has to push now before Hyun makes the transition into Mutalisks, but look at this, 35 Mutalisks on the way. Starnan not even warping in as many units. He just doesn't have the money, and Hyun just depleted all of his bank. He can just magic box all the Archons if he wants to. He has to be careful not to get splashed too much by the Archons. And now that the Archons are gone, Starnan has just got to be so desperate. His only anti-air are the 2 Stalkers over there. And his only hope actually is doing as much damage as he possibly can with these Immortals. That's why he's moving immediately into the main base. He's trying to snipe off everything, one-shotting the Infestation Pit, taking down the Hive. But at this point, is it going to do him any good? Because the upgrades have already been researched. The Spire is still standing here. It's at the 3rd base. It's a really safe spot there. Couple of DTs here and Stalkers trying to work some magic, but with Lynx coming in right now, Hyun is in a commanding spot. Not enough anti-air here for Starnan, and he says, GG, I got too nervous. Wow. Such a cool game to watch on Whirlwind. Starnan versus Quanting Hyun. That is what you just watched, guys. I've been BelleNOiR. If you liked the video, please please hit the like button. If you have anything to say, then post it into the comment sections, and I'll see you guys next time. In the meantime, remember to storm first and ask questions later.